Good morning from Crusader Man. Yes, I see yesterday on the news there was widespread rioting in Sweden, largely emanating from the public burning of a Quran. Well, this sounds terrible, doesn't it? Burning such a holy book, such a book full of beauty and peace, and well, it's not. It's full of massacres. How the Prophet of Islam slit throats with his own knife, kicked them into trenches, kicked these Jewish people and Christians into trenches, just like the Gestapo did in the beginning of the Second World War. With the rape statistics in Sweden now, oh, it's horrific. I mean, you've got to realise that in the Quran and the Hadiths, all non-followers of that ideology are described as kafir, quote, the lowliest of beasts, perverts, like worms or rats. This is how if you think back to how Jewish people and Slavs and Russians were described by the early Nazi regime of World War II in the 1930s, that is how we describe us. And of course, Adolf Hitler said the only holy book I respect is Islamic Quran. The only world leader I admire is Muhammad. He actually said this. Also, you've got to realise that there's a lot of people, certainly on the right, have looked into this ideology. I mean, I'm quite lucky. I'm from an older generation. My father was very well read, a very clever man, and he told me all about it when he was 12, 13, 14. He must have realised what was coming, and he said, don't believe all this nonsense about religion or peace. They wiped out 550 years of Christianity in the Middle East. They really did. It started in Western Saudi Arabia from the Quraysh tribe, who couldn't read and write. They were completely illiterate, as was this pervert prophet of Islam, and it spread consistently. You know, leader after leader would gain fame and fortune, especially fortune, invading neighbouring villages, and so it went on, spread northwest all the way through, wiped out the Christian Middle East, who, you know, weren't prepared. You know, an ideology like Christianity based on a peaceful holy man, Jesus. They weren't prepared. They weren't prepared for these barbarians come riding on horseback, steal their kids. Yep, between 1 and 2 million kids and women were stolen in the early Islamic Empire, with jihad. They were treated horrifically. Young men were usually castrated because that made them more valuable. And okay, 7 out of 10 died, but the 3 out of 10 that survived with nothing left, they used to chop it all off whole, isn't it? Disgraceful. Especially, you know, this happened to European men, some European men, North Africans, especially black people, who in the Quran and Hadith, it despises black people. It calls them, the Prophet himself calls them raisin heads, just like monkeys, only fit for servitude and hard labour and castration. This is what he said. So when they start kicking off, as we say in Liverpool, going mad, rioting about this disgraceful book, well, you better realise there's a very good reason, because, you know, it's every follower's duty to further jihad, to further the world dominance of this ideology, which, as you can tell, has been violent, executing, beheading, warlike since like 610 AD. And incidentally, the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, failed, despite numerous pleas, failed to do any miracles, unlike Jesus. On one occasion, 2 of his followers, 2 of his people didn't believe him, and they stood on a nearby hillside and asked for him to send down a meteorite, a fireball, to kill them. And they were willing to sacrifice themselves to prove to the rest of the gang that he was a true prophet. And, well, they might be buried there. They might still be standing there, because no meteorites or firebolts ever arrived. I wonder why that is. Yeah, that's Muhammad, the fraud of Islam.